And we're live. I'm attorney James Betzold. All right. So sometimes I feel like I got to do a video first in Spanish and then in English so everybody can understand what we're talking about. It's uncanny, really, the times where I'll have clients that only speak English or clients that only speak Spanish. So we want to cover both grounds and not rely on the subtitles to get the word across. All right. So I had a little bit of clickbait in the title for you today. The question is, why should you not get married right away? And what could be the immigration consequences? Well, very simply, it's this. When somebody enters the United States of America on a visa, at the moment you're entering the United States, you're promising the U.S. government that you're only going to be here for the purposes stated in your visa. Okay, and that's great, right? You enter on a tourist visa. You're going to go see the Grand Canyon. You're going to go to Disney World. You're going to go see, I don't know, Mount Rushmore or New York City, right? Well, what happens when you enter on that visa, on that tourist visa, but then in the next few days, you get married to a U.S. citizen or to a legal permanent resident? Well, let's talk about that. And tourist visas aren't the only issue, right? You could have someone who enters the United States on a student visa and says, you know what, I'm entering and leaving and entering and leaving. And then I'm entering again on my student visa, making that implied promise of fulfilling the purposes of the student visa. But then 5 days later gets married to a U.S. citizen or to a resident here. Well, USCIS, immigration, U.S., the immigration system, they have a rule, and it says, if you do something inconsistent with the purposes of your visa in the first 90 days of entering the United States, they are going to presume that you had preconceived intent to do that thing. And if it's conflicting with the purposes of your visa, well, then they will determine automatically that you've committed fraud or misrepresentation. That's why you might not want to get married right after you enter on a visa, because if you entered on a visa that's not for the purpose of getting married, and then you get married within 90 days, the government's going to look at you like, are you sure you didn't plan on doing this before you entered? Because 5 or 7 days is a very short amount of time to decide to get married, to propose marriage, to get the marriage license, and to actually get married. That's the point. You see, when you're filing an immigration petition based on a marriage, you need to prove a couple of things. One thing you need to prove is that the marriage is real. It's a legitimate marriage, not entered into just to avoid immigration consequences, but that it's because of mutual love and respect and understanding, and you want to have a life together, and it's a real marriage. And then the other thing you have to prove is that when you entered, like if you entered and then within 90 days did the marriage, you need to prove that you didn't have the preconceived intent. You need to prove that you weren't lying when you entered, or that you didn't enter on false pretenses, right? The pretense of being a tourist, or the pretense of taking some tourist activities at Disneyland or something like that. And if you can't prove both of them, well, then you've got an issue. Now, if the government does determine that you've committed fraud or misrepresentation by entering and then quickly doing something inconsistent with the purpose of your visa, there are waivers available, right? If you're married to a U.S. citizen, obviously, that would be someone that we call a qualifying relative. But in that circumstance, there is a couple things you need to do, because they're going to presume that it was fraud and they're going to presume that you lied. So you need to proactively prove that that's not the case, which can be hard if you're getting married within 90 days of entering, or otherwise you're going to need that waiver. So thanks for paying attention today. We're coming up on 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I wanted to just do a quick video. Para Yesenia Ronces, que está preguntando si podemos traducirlo en español. Acabé de grabar uno en español. Entonces, por favor, mire mi perfil o mira el informador o donde lo está mirando. Hay otro video en español también, Yesenia. All right. If you would like a confidential consultation, please get a hold of me at the office here. Our phone number is 616-396-9418. Otherwise, you can find lots of free information on our website if you're doing your own research at this point, which is good. Visafeliz.com, also betzoldlaw.com. You can find information there. I'm attorney James Betzold, more than a decade of experience doing this. Thanks for watching.